All right, let's get started. Welcome everybody to today's lesson. Today we're going to be reviewing a few things that we have already talked about in our past lessons. So I think that it'll be great for people who have been sticking with us throughout the program, and it will also be interesting for people who are just dropping in for one lesson. Excellent. So I see that we have Gigi with us, Aisha, Colin, Nirvana, Amira. Great, 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 great. All of our regular students are here, and we can get started. So today we're going to be talking about a few topics that we spoke about recently, and just looking at them again to remind ourselves of these rules and these things that we've talked about, these things that we've studied. So there's going to be two main things that we look at today. Today we're going to talk about used to, and we're going to talk about conditional phrases. So two big things that we need to focus on. So let's talk about used to. Used to has two different meanings, right? This is why it's difficult. Sometimes it means a thing that I did in the past. It's like usually in the past, right? This is one meaning of used to. Like, I used to go to school, or I used to have long hair, or I didn't used to. Like, I didn't used to be an English teacher, or I didn't used to like pizza. Or we could ask a question, did you used to? For example, did you used to be the president of France? Was this your job in the past, right? Did you used to be a TV star? You look very familiar. You have a familiar face. Did you used to be a TV star? For example. So we could ask a question like this, right? This is all about something that we did in the past, and it was regular for us. It was usual for us. But sometimes used to also means that something is okay for us. It's comfortable. It's comfortable for us, right? Something is not difficult, not uncomfortable. So here we say, I am used to. I am used to. Before we said I used to, and now we say I am used to. These are different things, right? Because this is to be used to. So up here, it's just used to. But here we have to be used to. I am used to. For example, I am used to waking up early. This is something that is normal for me, something that is easy, comfortable for me. I am used to waking up early. Or I'm not used to. I'm not used to speaking French. This is difficult for me. I will feel uncomfortable doing this, right? I'm not used to speaking French. Maybe you go to a job interview and the person speaks French with you, and you say, I'm not used to speaking French in a job interview. Next, are you used to? This means like, are you comfortable? Is this easy? Is this regular for you, right? We could say, are you used to having a conversation in English, for example, right? Are you used to working on Saturdays, For example, we might ask this question, like, is that okay for you? Are you comfortable with that? So this is to be used to. And the biggest difference, the thing that will really help us remember that there's a different meaning is when we just say used to about something in the past, like I used to have long hair, then here we have the infinitive. So to be, to do, to see, to think, to have, to go, right? We say I used to, and then this part of the verb. Like I used to be an astronaut, or I used to be a singer. I used to be a singer. This here we need to use be, the form be. This is called infinitive. With to be used to, we would use the gerund, ing. We need to say ing, right? So I am used to being an English teacher. I'm comfortable with this. This is okay for me. This is regular, normal for me. I am used to being an English teacher. Here we need to say being. I am used to being. But if we talk about what I did in the past, I used to be. Right? So we use the infinitive form here, and we use the gerund form here. We can also use this with to get used to. To get used to. So in our last lesson on Monday, when we were on Facebook, we talked about be and get. Right? Get is like become. So if be used to means be comfortable, then to get used to means to become comfortable, right? First it's not comfortable, and then we change and it is comfortable. So we could say I got used to. For example, I wasn't always a morning person, but I got used to waking up early. Right? But I changed. I became more comfortable with waking up early. I got used to. I got used to waking up early. Again, we need to say ing. I got used to waking up early. So let's look at one more example. If we say, I used to wake up early. I used to wake up early. This means in the past, I did this usually. In the past, I did this regularly, every day, right? I used to wake up early. And it means that now I do not wake up early. It's not true. If I say I am used to waking up early, it means that this is comfortable for me. This is okay for me. It's not difficult. I am used to waking up early. And if we say I got used to waking up early, it means in the past it was not comfortable for me. It was not okay. But I changed and now it is okay. Right? So great. So let's think about something that you had to get used to. Something that you had to get used to. So we can say, I had to get used to doing something. Right? I had to get used to doing something. For example, when my daughter was born, I had to get used to changing diapers. Had to get used to changing diapers. Diapers are the underpants for babies. You have to change them a lot, you know? I had to get used to changing diapers. Great. Gigi, what about you? What's something that you had to get used to?
Hi everyone. Hi Chris.
Hi.
I'd say I get to use to understand Dutch people.
Dutch people?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and yes, right now I got to use to understand them in a good way. Yes, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not be able to speak yet. Just
So
understand.
now you are used to them,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
but you were not before. You had to get used to them.
Yes.
Uh-huh. You had to get used to Dutch people?
Yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Understand. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Understand.
Um, what is what's the number one thing that you had to get used to about Dutch people?
Um, the first thing that I have to get used to understand how can express their idea because they are so direct people,
Really?
and sometimes you are a little bit shocked, but but right now I got to use to understanding good. I'm not. I don't care about that. It's normal for me.
Okay. So
Yeah.
sometimes they're too direct for
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Uh-huh. And you had to get used to that.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aisha, what about you? What is something that you've had to get used to?
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Yes. After I attended this lesson, I had to get used to speaking English clearly
Okay. Had to get used to
because
speaking English clearly.
yes, because before I understand, but I couldn't respond and couldn't speak clearly. Even when I try to speak, the person faced me don't understand me. But now it's better.
Now you have a lot of practice.
Yes, yes, that's why.
That's great. That's great. Okay. Colleen, what about you? What's something that you have had to get used to?
Um, Hi. Last year, I had to, I think not only me, I think all of us, uh, I had to get used to wearing a mask and respecting social distancing.
Yeah. Yeah, we've all had to do that, right?
Yes. Yes. I also have one or two in my pockets all the time.
Yeah. My grandmother, she sews masks and different, she sews quilts and blankets, and she has a group of friends at her church, and they all sew blankets and then send them to organizations that help people. And when the pandemic started, she started sewing masks. She said that she sewed, I think, 10,000 masks now.
Very nice.
Yeah. And so there's just masks everywhere in my car and my
Yes,
clothes and my
exactly.
uh-huh. So now I am very used to finding masks in my
Yes, yes.
pockets, and yeah. Uh-huh. But what do you think? Um, are you still getting used to? Are you still getting used to wearing a mask?
Well, I think a mask is now like an accessory, so I am used to wear a mask.
Wearing a mask?
Yes, I'm used to wearing a mask.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But and here's a good phrase that we like to use a lot. It takes some getting used to. It takes some getting used to. This phrase means some time is required before you will be comfortable.
Yes, that's true. At the beginning, it wasn't so comfortable, but now it's something normal. It's weird if you see people not wearing a mask.
Yeah. You're not used to seeing people without masks.
It's happened, but in general, all the people wear a mask.
Yeah. All right, great. Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, too.
Amira, what about you? What is something that you had to get used to?
Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. I had to get used to eat healthy,
Eating healthy?
eating.
Uh-huh. I'm still getting used to that. It's difficult for me. I had a piece of chocolate before our lesson. What about for you? Is it easy for you to start eating healthy?
To eat healthy. I love chocolate, cake, pizza. It's difficult for me
Uh-huh.
to eating healthy.
What about meat? Do you still eat meat?
Meat, yes, I love eating meat.
Uh-huh. Just some people think that meat isn't healthy. And
I
yeah.
can cook roast to be healthy for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The way
Now they have some hamburgers that are not meat, and they sell them in shops. I've tried them, and it's not bad. It's different, and I think people can get used to it.
what is healthy.
It's meat. It's not meat. It's made from something different. Yeah, I think they call it Beyond Meat. You should look at it, and I got used to it really fast. I tried it and I thought this is good, and but yeah. Okay, thank you, Amira. And Nirvana, what about you? What's something that you had to get used to?
When my little sister was a baby,
Mhm.
I had to get used to carrying her.
Carrying her?
Yes.
Cool. Good example. Yeah. And you had to get used to screaming, right? You had to get used to a baby screaming near you.
Yes.
Lots of changes when you have a baby or a younger sibling. Yeah. Good example. Okay, Marina, what about you? What's something that you had to get used to?
Hi.
Hi.
When I got married, I had to get used to cooking different dishes.
Uh-huh. Cooking for two people?
For 2 people, then for 3 people, and then for 4 people.
Yeah. And now you're a chef.
Well, yes. But
That's
sometimes I'm really glad when my husband wants to be a chef on the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
I'm not against.
So before you got married, you were not used to cooking.
No, I was eating different food, snacks,
it wasn't a problem for me because I was a student. Like everybody, I could eat everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. So this gives us a good example of using to be used to in the past. We could say, I wasn't used to cooking. Instead of I am not used to cooking now, we could say in the past, I wasn't comfortable, right? In the past, I wasn't used to cooking. And we can use it in the future too. We can say, I don't think that I will ever be used to wearing a mask. Something like this. Or I don't think I will ever get used to wearing a mask. You could say this.
Yeah, we were thinking about it maybe half of year ago. But now we got used.
Yeah, now we got used to it.
Yeah. Sometimes we feel uncomfortable when we forget our mask. It's like, oh my gosh, where is my mask? Do you try to find some mask in any pocket? You're like naked without mask now. It's like a habit.
Yep. Yes, it's very interesting. Marina, have you ever heard of a TV program called Shark Tank?
No.
It's a business program with famous business people, and some small businesses come there and they try to ask these big business people to invest in their company. And this is the TV show. And there was one girl who went there maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and she had lots of different designs of masks, and she wanted to sell them in China where the air quality was very low, and all of the investors made jokes and they said, no, this is a terrible business. And I always think about that when I when I see people with masks. I think, wow, that's such a great idea.
Well, she's like a predictor.
Yeah. But now it's part of everyday life, right?
Right.
Also, it's interesting that if you saw a person in a mask before the pandemic, then you usually thought that they're doing something strange. Like,
I usually thought that this person is ill.
They're ill or they're a criminal hiding their face. Right. And
when I was in Thailand and Vietnam, I saw a lot of people in masks, and I asked why they prefer to wear these masks. They answered that there are a lot of dust in the cities, and they just don't want to breathe with this dust. And the second reason, they don't want to be sunburned. They want to have a white skin. It's very fashion for them and beautiful. That's why they want to cover their face with masks.
I see.
But now we have another reason all over the world.
Yeah, there were lots of shops or places where if you were wearing a mask before, they would not let you go inside. And now you must wear one to go inside.
Right.
Very interesting. So great. So we talked about used to. Thank you, Marina, and thank you, everybody. We talked about used to. Again, 3 important parts of used to. Used to about something in the past. I used to have long hair. Be used to, which is different. I am used to wearing a mask now. And we need to say ing, right? Used to wearing. And then get used to. Get used to is become. So it shows that it changes, right? So I got used to wearing a mask. It means before this was not comfortable for me. And then now, and then it changed, and now it's comfortable. Great, okay. So the second thing that we need to review today is conditional phrases. And you probably remember that we have a few different types of these conditional phrases. Let's start with 0, which is if present, then present. And remember that with all of our conditional phrases, we can change the position. We can take the if clause, the part of the sentence that's if. We can take the if clause and we can move it, and the then clause can be first. We can move them, right? So if present, then present. For example, if it rains, you get wet. For example, if it's snowing, then it's cold. For example, so it's like a fact, right? Or it could be like a strong opinion. First conditional is if plus present, then future. And this tells us something about the future. So let's make sure we do this. Fact, and this is future. Then we have second conditional. If plus past, then would plus infinitive. And this tells us about the present. Now, first and second conditional are the most important ones to know. The others we don't use very often. First and second are the most important. And there are some things for us to understand that are different. For example, first conditional tells us something about the future. The future can change, and the future might be true. Maybe this thing will happen, maybe it will not happen. But with second conditional, we're talking about the present. And the present is, we cannot have a different present because right now the present is happening. And so this is an unreal conditional, right? It's a different present that we're talking about. So let me give you an example with money and yachts. A yacht is a type of boat. A big boat, a ship. So we could say, if I won the lottery, then I would buy a yacht. This is like in the present. If right now, in this moment, I won the lottery, then right now, in this moment, I would buy a yacht. If we use first conditional, we can say, if I win the lottery, then I will buy a yacht. I might say this when I go and buy the lottery ticket to my friend. I might say, buying a lottery ticket, and if I win the lottery, then I will buy a yacht. Right? And then if I win, I can buy the yacht, and this is true. We can also use zero conditional. If I win the lottery, I buy a yacht. Like, it's a fact. Like every time that I win the lottery, I buy a yacht. Right? It's just a fact. If I win the lottery, I buy a yacht. This would be zero conditional. So you can see that all three of them have the same words, but they have a different meaning, right? So first, let's start at the top. If I win the lottery, I buy a yacht. This is like, it's a fact. Every time that I win the lottery, I buy a yacht. It's right. First conditional, if I win the lottery, then I will buy a yacht. This is something that happens in the future, and I can really do this. Second conditional, if I won the lottery, then I would buy a yacht. If I won the lottery, I would buy a yacht. So this is like right now. If this happened now, then I would do this now. We could also use third conditional. If plus past perfect. Then would plus have plus the third form of the verb. And this is about the past. The third form of the verb in grammar, this is called past participle. Past participle. But third form of the verb is easier to remember, right? Like eat, ate, eaten. Eaten is the third form of the verb. So, for example, we could say, if I had won the lottery, then I would have bought a yacht. This is in the past, and this is in the past. Both parts are in the past. Everything's in the past. So this is a different past. It's completely unreal, right? If I had won the lottery yesterday, then I would have bought a yacht yesterday. So these are the four conditional types that we usually use. We also have one more. We also have one more called mixed conditional. But this is where we take pieces of other conditionals and we put them together. Usually we take second and third conditional and put them together to show how a different past can give us a different present. But this is more complex, more complicated. We don't need to talk about that now. Can you use all types of present? Yes. So yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can use all types of present. Colin, good question. Usually we're going to use present simple, and sometimes I can think of using present continuous. We don't usually use present perfect here, but you could. So yes, good question. Great. So now let's practice choosing the right type of conditional. Choosing the right type, right? We need to choose zero, first, second, or third. Zero, it's a fact, it's a joke sometimes, it's a, we usually don't use it. Third conditional, it's only in the past. Both parts are in the past. We don't use it very often. First conditional can really happen in the future. So it's very useful. And second conditional is like not real, but used a lot to talk about a situation that's not real, right? So first and second are the ones that we probably want. Okay. I'm going to say two things. I'm going to tell you, just like I had, if I win the lottery, then I will buy a yacht. I'm going to give you a different example. I'm going to tell you the situation if this happens, and then what will you get, or what will the result be? And you need to make the sentence. Okay. So, for example, don't study, exam results. Don't study, exam results. How can we use conditional phrases to talk about this? Colin, what do you think?
If you don't study, you won't pass the exam.
Good. First conditional. Yeah. And this means it's a real exam in the future. Somebody really could pass it or fail it. Great. Okay, let's try another example with Gigi. Okay, this time, go to work, make money.
Make money. Yeah. If I had dedicated more, I would have gotten more money right now.
So sorry, I said go to work.
Go to
and make money. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If I worked hard, I would get more money than I have got.
Than I get now.
That I get now. Yes.
Right, because it's present. So okay, if I worked harder, I would get more money
than
I get now. Yeah. Okay, good example. And this is second conditional. It's about the situation now.
No.
Great. Marina. Okay. Teach your children, be smart.
Teach children.
Teach your children and be smart.
Who will be smart? My children.
We need to say how they're connected with the conditional sentence.
Okay. If I teach my children, they will be smart.
Okay. If I teach my children, they will be smart. Good. So this is a real thing with a real result. And if we want to say that this is true about all teaching and all children, how can we say that?
If we teach children, they are smart.
Yeah. Okay, good. Good example. Okay. Aisha. Let's see. Okay, situation is go to sleep early and result, be tired in the morning.
If I go to sleep early, I will get up. If I go to sleep early, I would get up. I wouldn't get up tired. Yes,
So okay, say it again.
If I go to sleep early, I wouldn't. If I go to sleep early, I will not wake up tired.
I will not wake up tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And okay, let's imagine that you didn't go to sleep early, and now somebody says somebody's talking about you're tired. So if we use second conditional, how can we say this?
If I went to sleep early, I will not tired now.
I wouldn't be tired now.
I wouldn't be tired now.
Yeah. Good. Good. Okay. Let's see. Amira, what about you? Okay. Okay. The situation is do the cooking, to cook, or do the cooking and eat dinner.
If I cook it,
If I cook?
cook it.
Sorry? Yeah, so to cook or to do the cooking. To cook. Yeah, so if I cook, we can just use the verb to cook.
Cook and eat another.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you say it again? Amira, I didn't hear you. Yeah. If you do the cooking,
if I do, I wouldn't have to go out.
I wouldn't have to go out. Okay, good. So we should use second conditional here. If I did the cooking. Yeah. If I did the cooking.
I wouldn't have to go out.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to go out. Good example. I was thinking about first conditional. If I cook, I won't have to go out in the future. Yeah. Yeah, but in this situation, if I did the cooking, then I wouldn't have to go out. But right now, but it's second conditional, right? So, but I have to go out because I didn't do the cooking. Good example. Okay, let's see. Who else? Nirvana, right? Okay. Let's try. Okay, exercise and be in shape.
If I used to exercise.
If I exercised.
No, if I had exercise, then I be shape.
If I exercised, then
I would be shape.
In shape. Yeah. That's very true about me. I need some exercise. Too much time in front of the computer. Great. Thank you. Okay, so that's all for today. We talked about used to, 3 different ways to use used to. We talked about 4 different conditional phrases, and that's the end of section 4 of our program. We have 4 out of 7. We finished 4 out of 7. So the next section, we're going to talk about quantifiers, things that tell us when something is bigger or smaller, or things like this. We're going to talk about work and some vocabulary connected to working. We're going to talk about articles. That's going to be a lot of fun. Everybody loves articles, English articles, right? Okay, great. Well, that's it for today. So are there any other questions from Kale, Nirvana, Marina, Gigi, Amira, Aisha?
Sorry, Chris, I'd like to ask something. I have seen, I have watched one video from you on YouTube, and you explain about hardly. It's like almost not, no? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you explain how can you use in this sentence, please?
Hardly.
Yeah, because sometimes people say I work hardly. It's not correct, no?
No. When I meet someone with bad English, I can hardly understand him. I almost cannot understand him. I could hardly understand him. So it means almost not. It doesn't. It's not about difficult. It's not hard like difficult, right? This is what we should remember, that hardly, it does not mean difficult. Hard can mean difficult, but hardly does not mean difficult.
Okay.
Yeah. Another phrase, I could hardly speak. This means I almost could not speak. It does not mean it was difficult for me to speak. It does not mean this. So, like, maybe you see some situation and you're shocked. I could hardly speak. Like I couldn't speak. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's why to work hard means to work it's difficult and it uses your energy. It's hard. But to hardly work, it means almost not work.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that you work very hard. It means that you don't work at all. Okay, yeah. Great question.
Thank you.
All right, Nirvana had a question.
What's the difference between fear and afraid?
Fear and afraid. So the difference between fear and afraid, first of all, fear is a noun only. Noun and a verb. To fear someone. That means that you are afraid of someone. Afraid alone, just this word, is an adjective. We can say to be afraid, to make it a verb. So the biggest difference between fear and afraid is an adjective. We can say he is afraid. You are afraid. I am afraid. We usually say to be afraid of something. To be afraid of something. I am afraid of the dark. He is afraid of snakes. We can also just use this verb. He fears snakes. He fears snakes. He is afraid of snakes. It's the same. It's the same. We could also use a noun. He has a fear of snakes. He has a fear of snakes.
Yes, snakes.
And the second question is about number 0 and O. When I use have some difference when I use 0 and when I use O.
You shouldn't use O about numbers.
Oh.
Sometimes native English speakers say O about 0. Sometimes, yes. But in school, they teach us that O is a letter and 0 is a number. And there's no rule about this really. If you're talking about a phone number, people usually will say O for 0 in a phone number. But also 0 is more correct still, because O is a letter and 0 is a number. So
Okay.
yeah, if you're reading on the computer, then you can sometimes see something like this. This will be 0 and this will be O.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, Colin had a question.
Yes, when a verb comes after a preposition, do you always use ing form for this verb?
Verb comes after a preposition?
Yeah, used to, wearing.
Right. Yes, this is one of the rules, that when it comes after a preposition, that it's a gerund, and when it comes after an adjective, it's the infinitive.
Yes, but when you use used to, be used to, and get used to, it's a kind of adjective.
But it's not.
Okay.
It's something special. It's something different. It's not an adjective technically, and we can't think of it as one unit. It's two different words. So the last word is a preposition, and after the preposition, we have to say gerund.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Marina had a question.
Chris, why did you mention that people usually don't use third conditional? Is maybe there is another way how to explain the same?
So it's not that they don't use it. It's just that there aren't as many situations when you need it as for first or second conditional. It's like future perfect continuous. You never need to study this in a book, maybe in like advanced or proficiency, like the highest level, because we don't use it a lot, you know. So if we only use it once a year, then we might not need to study that, right?
But for example, I want to describe something in the past, what could be, but it didn't happen. I should use the third conditional, right?
It could, so yes, but it could have been, but it didn't happen. See, it could be is now, that's present, that's second conditional. But it could have been in the past, that would be third conditional. This is the difficult part about third conditional, is both parts are in the past and it doesn't connect to now.
And Chris, when we write this like scheme, yes, for the third conditional, we write then part would plus have and plus third form of the verb. Why we write that have plus third form? Why don't we write that would plus present perfect? It's not the same?
No, because present perfect could change with he, she, and it. Right? Then it's not have, then it's has. But here it's always have.
So he would have this, always have here.
Right.
Okay. This is new for me. I thought we should change.
Because after would, we need to have the infinitive form. So it's always have.
Always have. Okay. Okay, I understand now. Thank you, Chris.
Great. Thank you. Thanks everybody for all the great questions today. And so every Friday we go live on YouTube at 8 a.m. New York time. Every Monday we go live on Facebook at 8 a.m. New York time. And I look forward to seeing everybody on Monday on Facebook at 8 a.m. New York time. next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.